spinning plates. Gotta be a dad, gotta be a husband, gotta be an actor. Musical theatre. I feel like my drag game has improved. Contour and blending. Less is more.
And do you still have a pair of Lola's boots?
Okay, here you go. Try them on.
So going right back. Worked at the Adelphi selling ice cream, and then you went on to win an Olivier for your performance there.
Both me and Killian were kind of blown away by the fact that we were both nominated. Good morning. I was literally like...
I was about
trying to get here.
This question. So obviously you're there at Hope Mills Community Hub, where they now rehearse. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's a really nice. It's a really nice space actually, because I guess they said that this is the first. We're kind of the first cast that have been using this new space. So yeah, it's really lovely actually to have somewhere else to rehearse and then go into the space as well. So yeah.
And this is just around the corner from the Hope Mill, so you've still got access to pop along.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Even though we've had a little incident with car parks and stuff like that, but it's fine. It's all working out. It's all working.
And how are you going? So have you moved up to Manchester for the duration?
Yes. So I'm staying at a friend's house in Stockport, and kind of commuting from there, and then going back and forth over the weekends, and spinning plates. Gotta be a dad. Gotta be a husband. Gotta be an actor. And giving everyone my time. But yeah, so commuting from Stockport Monday to Friday, and then back and forth to Birmingham and London over the weekend.
Well, yeah, I wanted to ask about being a parent in this industry, because you were part of the Parents in Performing Arts pilot scheme, weren't you? Which didn't quite work.
Yes. No. No.
What? How come? What didn't work about it?
For me, it was kind of, I don't know. I just didn't. Yeah, it was hard because sometimes you had. As you know, being a parent, you're trying to be as organised as you can be. But when an audition, you can't be prepared for when an audition comes in. So when an audition comes in and we need to see you at 2:00 tomorrow. Okay, go online, trying to find someone to look after your kid, trying to go through all this rigmarole of doing. It was just a lot. It was just. Yeah. I don't know. I think what would be an amazing idea is if there was a central London creche.
Yeah.
And you could then, because most of your auditions are in central London, you could get into London, you can drop your kid off for an hour, 2 hours max or whatever, and then you go to your casting. You don't have to be thinking, oh God, I'm gonna get back in time to pick up my kid. You can do your casting, come out, kind of go, that was great, that was shit, have a cup of coffee and go and pick your kid up. That would be amazing. But yeah, so it was a good idea. It's a good idea, but I just think it needs a little bit more work.
Yeah, so it was more about the kind of practicalities of the castings rather than once you're in a show. Because I mean, they looked at, wasn't it, job sharing and trying to kind of.
Well, the whole job sharing thing. I'm very much for that. I feel that that would be really beneficial for a lot of parents who are doing lead roles in shows, to kind of be able to, or I mean anybody really, to have that ability to kind of match with somebody who the producer would be happy to job share that show with, and that's, in that sense, I think it would work. But I don't know, it just, it didn't fit me. Not everything fits everybody, so yeah, but it didn't fit me.
So going right back. So you worked in a Clark's shoe shop way before you worked in the factory. How incredible is that? Do you find that remarkable when you look back, especially because you worked at the Adelphi selling ice cream and then you went on to win an Olivier for your performance there? Do you think it is all kind of...
Well, it's the universe, isn't it? The universe is kind of, pulling you together. And I don't know. I needed money. I was at university, and I went round. I was living in Tooting at the time, and I went down the high street. I was like, where do I actually want to work? And I was like, okay. So I put my CV into all these shops, and I think Clark's was the first one that came back and said, oh yeah, we've got Saturday, places. I was like, okay, cool. So then I worked at Clark's on Saturdays in the daytime, and worked at Cafe Rouge in the evenings. It's just like spinning plates. This is when I was at university, so yeah. But I guess then that helped me when I got into Kinky Boots because I knew about shoes.
Well, that was it. Because I understand when you were all casted, you got taken to Nottingham to go to the actual factory.
Yes, now that was amazing as well, to meet all the people who the film was based on, and just to actually see how a shoe is actually made, and just how much effort goes into it, and how much they love their jobs. And it was just, it was a really great insight, and that I'm glad that we got to do that.
But I remember speaking to Joel Harper Jackson afterwards, and he came away like with a real appreciation for shoes, and like he's now obsessed with them. He buys like
the one thing that it has done for me, like changed my mindset, is like shoes. I'm now really obsessed with shoes.
You have got nice. Are they DMs you're wearing today?
Yeah. I've become a massive shoe geek. I've got.
Is that literally because he played Charlie Pies?
Just because when we were rehearsing in Northampton, that's where it's at.
And you got taken to the.
We got taken to Trickers, where the film was filmed, and just to see how it was.
Smell the leather and.
Just to see how it was all made, it was fascinating, and like it just made me go. It just made me appreciate shoes a lot more. I know it sounds silly, but like
you've now got a shoe fetish.
Just one good fetish, but the craftsmanship that went into it, I was like, it just made me respect it a lot more. And like, I was like, oh god, I'm not gonna buy that rubbish anymore. And Docs are from Northampton originally.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like made me like shoes a lot more.
Well, no, I bought because when we went there, you could buy then the Trickers shoes, and literally, I was just like, okay, I like that pair. I must have walked away with like 3 pairs of shoes from the factory, because it was so good, really good quality shoes that were being made, and just kind of, and that's, and they've lasted a very long time.
And do you still have a pair of Lola's boots?
Yes, yeah. They were given to, each Lola, after you finish the show, you're handed your kind of boots that you've spent the whole time trying to break in and, make you feel, help your feet to kind of feel like they're breathing, they've got blood, going to the toes. But yeah, so I have a pair in my wardrobe that I kind of bring out every so often to show friends who are like, do you still have the boots? I'm like, okay, here you go, try them on.
And we've got to talk about that show. So you originally auditioned to play in America as an understudy, weren't you? So,
yes.
I mean, how was that process? Did they audition you in the UK, or did you have to fly over?
We auditioned in the UK, and then I was flown over to audition in New York, and then the show got announced here, and then it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, now we're opening it here, let's get into audition here. And it was a lot of auditioning. There must have been like 12 auditions or something.
And by that point, obviously, Billy Porter had won his Tony. The show was doing so well. Were you excited about the show? Had you heard much of it? Had you seen bits of it?
Well, I got to see the show when I went over to audition. I got to watch the show, and I was just kind of sat there kind of going, wow, that's a lot. It was a lot. Like, he was on all the time. The costume changes were so amazing, just amazingly quick, and wig, costume, makeup, shoes, and I was just like, how is he still standing there and like singing and breathing? And but then when you get into the show, you kind of go, wow. Once it starts, it's like a train, and you're on it, and you're just going and going and going, and then you're like, oh my god, it's 10:30, the show's finished. It just goes so quickly. It's like being an athlete, actually. But I loved it when I saw it.
And about drag, so I mean, drag is an art form, and you'd have probably done it on nights out, but professionally, how did it? I mean, did your drag evolve? Do you feel?
I feel like my drag game has improved, yes. From the drag makeup that I kind of did as a joke going out to Madame Jojo's back in the day with friends for birthday parties and stuff, to what I learned about drag and what I learned about contour and blending. Blend is your friend, that's what they used to say. And I learned so much about makeup that even now, I kind of give my little sisters like little tips. And I'm like, less is more, you know. But yeah, no. So I feel like I've learned a lot. I have learned a huge skill.
When you found out you were nominated for an Olivier, how did that feel? First to be nominated and then to go to the awards.
Yeah, well, to be nominated was kind of I guess both me and Killian were kind of blown away by the fact that we were both nominated. And also we were kind of like, oh, there can only be one winner. And we both actually said to each other, regardless of what happened, we're both there for each other and we're going to support each other. And if whoever wins, you know, you mention them in your speech. And it was just a really kind of, we had such a really good friendship that we developed in the show. So it was, and we both were happy for each other, which is really lovely.
And then what was it like to actually win it?
And then to actually win it was insane because people said to me, oh, did you know? Did you get a heads up? And I was like, no, nothing. All I knew was that my best friend, Luke Evans, was presenting the award with Beverley Night. Yeah. And I just saw him walk out and I was just like, no, it can't be me, no. And then he said my name and I was just like, oh my God. It was insane. It was so insane. And I was absolutely blown away and kind of speechless. And I kind of thought I'd prepared the speech because you kind of loosely prepare a speech, but you don't want to really commit to preparing a speech in case you never have to say it. And I was like, oh my God. So I wrote a few words, and it's kind of you're babbling along. And it was crazy.
I think you mentioned like how you felt a kind of responsibility to give that Olivier performance afterwards every night, which I'm sure you did anyway, because you always got great reviews. Yeah,
you do though. You kind of, you win the Olivier and you kind of go, oh my God, I've got to do this so I've got to give this amazing performance now every night, and I can't slack. And you push yourself. I mean, I hardly went off. I only went off, and I was literally losing my voice, or my knees were giving in, and my calf muscles were like rock steel, and I couldn't walk in the heels anymore, and I had to have a day off. But yeah, I guess it was like being an athlete. Definitely. And I just loved the physicality of it all. And I think I was in the best shape of my life for those 2 years because I kind of had stopped eating kind of just rubbish. I was looking after myself. I was training as well. So I was training 2 times a week with a personal trainer. And it was just all this, I felt like I was literally Serena Williams, like, right, I'm going to do this.
And you've talked a lot about this, about the message of the show. And especially, I mean, the songs are so gorgeous, especially I'm Not Your Father's Son.
I'm not my father's son. I'm not the image of what he dreamed of, with the strength of Sparta and the patience of Job. Still couldn't be the one to echo what he'd done and mirror what was not in me. The endless torrent of expectation swirling inside my mind wore me down. I came to a realization, and I
mean, can you remember the first time you heard that and the effect it had on you?
Yes. I mean, the music, I mean, Cyndi Lauper is a legend, isn't she? And kind of getting to work with her and getting to understand how she kind of wrote these songs and kind of really getting to the absolute essence of the character and what they're feeling in that moment. She was able to capture that, and just lyrically, the words of "Not My Father's Son," kind of, I remember just singing it every night, and you just hear people crying because there were so many people out there that I guess, yeah, didn't feel like they had or lived up to their father's expectations, or didn't feel that they, there was I guess there were so many people that were just the song just responded to, and they really felt it. And for me, it was really powerful because it was very close to my own kind of what I was feeling as well in my own personal life. And so I guess every time I kind of sang it, it was a kind of a mantra to myself that I am good and I am, and it's going to be okay. I'm going to be fine here, guys. Yeah.
And you mentioned Cyndi there, so you managed to go on tour with her.
Yes, I did. So I was making my own album, which was Red Flare, which I kind of got to do with Mr. Hudson and the guys from The Feeling and Jew from Baby Shambles. And so when I was speaking to Cyndi about my music, and she was kind of like, oh, okay. She says, well, I'm going on tour and I'm also doing Australia. I was like, but she said, I'm doing the English leg of the tour. And I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work, if I'm going to be able to, because I'm still doing the show. And so I kind of went to the producers. I was like, please, can I go and promote my album and support Cyndi? And they were like, yeah, definitely. And it was an insane moment just to kind of be with her, to watch her, get out there. And I got to perform with her as well. Girls want to have fun. Girls just want to have fun. And yeah, that's a memory that's always going to stick with me, that we kind of really had a beautiful and amazing time. Yeah.
And how long did you tour for with her?
God, it was only a certain venue. So it was kind of, I think we did Glasgow, Birmingham, Newcastle. I think there was like 4 or 5 venues. So it was only kind of over the space of 2 weeks. Yeah.
Speaking of touring, so I'm staying at my mum and dad's, and I found this program from Miss Saigon, and I looked at the ticket. It is the 26th of February, 2005.
Oh, who was in the show then?
So it's one of these souvenir programs. So it hasn't got the casting, but it's got there's John and Kerry Ellis.
Stephen.
But this was you. I mean, you might be somewhere in it.
I think I'm one of the guys that are in kind of the hats and stuff. Oh my God, yes. There's Makakilo. Oh my God. That was amazing. Yeah, fantastic show. That was
bizarre that obviously, that was 2005. I'll have seen you when I was in my 20s watching it in Sunderland.
Oh my God. Wow. Yes. Yeah. I remember that very kind of clearly, being in Sunderland because it was snowing. And I was like, why are they not wearing coats? Why are they not wearing coats?
Yeah, we don't do that. But what was it like to work with Kerry and that tour and that show?
Oh my God. So that was my first ever tour, and it was for 15 months. And it was the first time I got to kind of work with Cameron, and and me and Kerry. It was the first time I met Kerry Ellis, and we became friends, and it was such an amazing time because it was the first time that Cameron had changed the show to that new version that's in the booklet, and so we kind of felt like we were kind of the guinea pigs, but kind of also putting on a new. It wasn't just a rehashed version; it was a totally brand new version of the show, and we all just really got on, and it was such. And I guess I'm still friends with kind of majority of the cast from that time because it was an amazing time. It's an amazing time to be together and be young, and I'm a GI.
And then after that, you went on to tour with Avenue Q, and you were resident director on that, weren't you, as well?
Yes. So I went. So I finished Avenue Q. I finished Miss Saigon, and then I kind of came back to town to do Avenue Q in town, and then they said to me, "Oh, we're taking it on tour, and would you be interested in being resident director and playing Gary Coleman?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." So that for me was. Again, it was something that I've always wanted to do. So it's always been niggling at the back of my head. Okay, do you want to get into direction? Do you want to get into direction? I was like, yeah, I do, but I still enjoy acting. And there's like, I still have this. I had this conversation yesterday with Nick, our director, because he used to be an actor, and he was like saying to me, like, I'm now, like, he's been reading in for one of the parts, and he's like, do you know what? I thought I missed it, but no, I really love directing. And I'm like, wow, okay. I still enjoy acting, but I do enjoy directing as well. And so maybe later on, I'll hang it all up and I'll become a director. Who knows?
But then I wanted to ask you about writing as well, because you mentioned your album, but you also been writing a TV series with BFI writing course, weren't you?
Yes. So I started off whilst doing Kinky Boots. I was like, okay, I had this story in my head, and so I kind of wrote off to the BFI, and they had the writing group going on, and I was like, okay, cool, I can join. So I joined. I made some amazing friends on that, and I've been writing and pitching different TV series. We've been also writing musicals as well, and watch this space. Hopefully something will be coming out somewhere soon. Fingers crossed.
And of course, you're in an amazing place. So the Hope Mill Theatre are really kind of pioneering new writing. They've got their Through the Mill scheme. And have you met Jonathan Harvey yet? Has he been coming into rehearsals?
Yeah, well, I know Jonathan from doing Our Lady of Blundellsands in Liverpool before the pandemic. That was the last play. Well, it was a brand new play, and it was my last play that I was doing before everything kind of went.
Our Lady of Blundellsands is about a family living in, funnily enough, Blundellsands, and it's about these two older women who've locked themselves away from society. One of them sort of lives in a fantasy land, and the other, her sister, sort of looks after her. And they have various children who are coming back for a birthday party, and there's some bad news that one of the sisters needs to impart. So it's about the party that takes place in this very dysfunctional family.
What happens then is all these secrets and these lies and these fantasies and a lot of truths happen in that room, so it becomes a rather explosive, dysfunctional family gathering.
But it's also, we must point out, very funny. Because it's Jonathan Harvey, but then the knife can twist sometime and you'll be going, oh, you know.
It's like we've walked into this bubbling melting pot that's going to explode at any minute.
But there's so much love in the room as well, and hurt. Somebody's fighting for love, somebody's fighting because they want to be loved.
They're all fighting for acceptance with each other, aren't
they?
Third week of rehearsals. Today I started on the kind of knottiest scene in the play, when all these kind of truths start to come out.
And then we have this amazing dinner, and around the dinner table, as the alcohol's flowing, so does the tongue start loosening, and some home truths get told.
I think you can expect a familiarity. Everyone's got a family that is a little bit weird in their own senses, haven't they?
Yeah, they can expect a blooming good evening, I think.
At the end of the day, it's a Jonathan Harvey script. You know, there's going to be some laughs along the way as well.
Some good one-liners.
I mean, the clue is in the title, Our Lady at Blundellsands. This play's got Merseyside running through its veins, you know what I mean?
They can expect to laugh and cry, genuinely. And if they don't, they're heartless and have no sense of humour.
So when Jonathan kind of asked me to be a part of this cast and to tell this story, I was like, of course, you know, his writing's insane. And so he's been coming in every so often, giving us little nuggets of, it's very funny. It's very funny when you've got the writer in the room, because I guess the writer's written it and they can hear the voices that they had in their head. And sometimes you'll say a line and he'll go, interesting choice. You know. But he's fun. He's great fun.
The pair of you just kind of square dancing around each other.
Looking at it kind of going, wow, I did that.
I mean, you had 13 million views. Do people have to bow now when you walk into the room?
I think, you know, there were some positive things to come out of this pandemic, and one of them is live streaming. I was reading, you know, I think it was yesterday that Billy Porter even
after 14 years
after 14 years has kind of, you know, spoken out and said, look, I've been dealing with this.
And it is incredible when you look back now reflectively on Billy Porter's performances in Pose to understand that that authenticity was there.
These interviews are completely free and I don't make any money from them. But if you would like to support me, I've set up That Fest to produce theatrical events to raise money for HIV charities. If you would like to make a donation, please check out our website or follow us at That Fest UK.
Hi, I'm Philip DeHaley.
And I'm Rob Isles. And we've set up That Fest to produce events and raise money and awareness for HIV charities.
We will be producing events to celebrate and amplify the voices of artists living with HIV.
After realising that so many friends close to me are living with HIV, I felt that I needed to be doing more to raise awareness, not only to the LGBTQ+ community, but to everyone.
We are committed to establishing That Fest as a platform to reduce stigma and to help to celebrate the artists living with HIV and tell their stories.
We plan to curate and produce events, festivals and concerts showcasing new work alongside discussions, talks and music.
We're looking to connect with artists living with HIV.
Singers, dancers, actors, choreographers, directors.
If you do it, let us know about it and email us at thatfest@thatstageyblog.com.
We're really excited for our first project, which will be to release a new cover of A Little Respect by Erasure.
We're looking for anybody with some singing ability to appear on the record.
So get in touch with us.
To help us produce these events, if you would like to make a donation, you can.
Just head over to justgiving.com/crowdfunding/thatfest.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at ThatFestUK.
What's really nice with this play, it's a play that's very close to my heart. The play is about a bloke whose partner has died of AIDS, and then he meets a new boyfriend who's HIV positive, who then starts to survive, and it's sort of like the contrast between the two relationships.
We're in a room full of really exciting, inventive, playful actors, so we're just getting on the floor and doing it, really.
Rehearsals so far have been really exciting. It's so I feel so lucky to be back in the rehearsal room, and it's such a lovely company and it's been really fun.
I have found the rehearsals absolutely extraordinary, and it's that excitement to be back at work. It's that excitement and thrill to be working on a piece that is just brilliant.
I'm 52 now, and I don't know how old I was when I wrote the play, but it's about people in their 20s, and just it's very touching seeing, well, in my eyes, ostensibly kids dealing with these awful things that we as a LGBT community had to deal with.
I also think the current climate seems to have quite a lot of resonance with the play, this kind of unknown, this kind of fear of the unknown that we can't really touch or feel or see.
I guess there's a correlation there which kind of makes it still relevant to today, and also the fact that it's still being spoke about, and something that should always continue to be spoke about.
So relevant to what we're living through. It's full of empathy and compassion and reminds people of what it's like to live through a pandemic or an epidemic, and how kind we have to be to each other. And it's great fun. Some cracking jokes from Jonathan Harvey.
Ben is very chaotic. He's very lonely, and he's trying to sort of worm his way into this little group of friends who've gone through so much grief over losing someone close to them.
The character I play is Beryl. I also play Jodie, and I also play Julie Andrews, so I'm having a ball.
People should tune in to watch Hushabye Mountain because we are making some art, baby, and I'm really proud of what we've done so far, so I can't imagine what it's going to look like in a couple of weeks.
It's a beautiful story. It's got a great heart. It's heartbreaking, but at the same time it's kind of holds up a mirror on society and shows how far we've come and how far yet we've got to go.
It's full of wonder and joy, this play, but it's also laced with some of the most kind of one of the most devastating periods of our time. So I think the reality is incredibly dark, but Jonathan's such an exquisite writer that he's able to find joy and wit and so much humour in it, mixed with some beautiful acting, some extraordinary directing, and some beautiful singing. Actually, we put some live music in it as well, so it should be a really magical theatrical event, I think.
See, let's talk more about the play, because it was written in 1999, and it had Andrew Lincoln in back then. So it's got great pedigree.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you mentioned, Nick Bagnall's now directing it, who also appeared in it previously. So is it evolved?
I guess because Nick's has a close affiliation with the play, and he kind of he was involved in the first reincarnation of it, I guess, and the birth of it. So he kind of he's always pushing us to find new ways of telling the story, and also kind of allowing the actor to find new things that can kind of take the show to another level or take it to a different place, which it hasn't explored these areas before. And that's what's so fantastic about I always find about rehearsing, and the experience of rehearsing is that, in that moment, everything is new. Every idea is a good idea until it's thrown out, I guess. And and it's such a powerful story, and it's so relevant even now because of what we're going through with this pandemic, and how in the beginning, how we all kind of closed off from each other, and how we didn't want to be around each other. We couldn't touch each other. We couldn't everything was done at a distance because we just didn't know how it was spreading. And this is kind of the aftermath of kind of now when the drug companies have found a way of kind of saving people. And I guess this is where we are now, where we found a cure and how we're able to save people. But people are still dying from COVID. People were still dying from AIDS. But there's hope. And that's what this play is about. It's totally about hope in each other, and finding hope in the situation, the darkness that we find ourselves in this moment. And that's what's so beautiful about this play.
Yeah, so you mentioned that. So it is a different type of AIDS play because it is at that time where it was all changing. I mean, we've had recently It's a Sin and then Pose as well, which is incredible drama, and they both predate this. So it is about that kind of that point in history where things were kind of turning around. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've got and it's it's the kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, and kind of thinking that, okay, you're not going to die, there is hope for you to survive this. And one of the characters, Ben, his journey through the whole piece of, finding out that, he's HIV positive, and then how he deals with that information. And then you see him later on and how he's kind of so happy to have come through. He goes to a dark place, and then at the end, he's so happy to be able to say that, look, I'm surviving. I've survived this. And even recently, I was reading, I think it was yesterday, that Billy Porter even
after 14 years.
After 14 years has kind of, spoken out and said, look, I've been dealing with this. And, at first I was ashamed, and then I hid away, and then, but now he feels confident enough to speak out about it. But he's survived. He survived to tell his story. And I think that's what this show is about. It's survived a test of the time, and it's able to tell these people's stories of survival.
And it is incredible when you look back now reflectively on Billy Porter's performances in Pose to understand that that authenticity was there.
Yeah.
How's it been for you and the entire team to kind of educate yourselves and find out what it's like for people living with HIV?
It's with our costume designer and set designer, Joss. She's been amazing. She's been kind of inundating us with material. She was kind of like the I don't know what the character is in It's a Sin, the girl that was living in the Jill. Yeah, Joss was like a Jill. She had her best friend Brian. She had a best friend Brian, and she told us about kind of when he got ill and how she then had to step up, and the story of her friendship and kind of everything that they went through. It's so powerful, and it's so kind of there's so much to draw from that, and so I guess we've kind of really embodied ourselves within the whole thing, and hopefully we can kind of do a good job by telling these people's stories that are in the play.
Exactly. And I've got to ask about Layton, because I've known Layton from years ago. I used to work at the BBC, and I worked on Beautiful People. I don't know if you ever saw that series.
No.
Definitely go and grab it. Get Jonathan to give you a DVD. But obviously Layton was at 12, I think, when he did that. And it's so incredible to see him kind of reunited in what Harvey play. How's it been? And I know what he's like. I can imagine what he's like in the rehearsal room. How's it been?
Do you know what? It's so funny, because when I found out that Layton was in the piece, I was like, oh my God, because I think we have the same agent. We always see each other at various dues and what for. And he reached out to me and says, oh my God, I'm so glad we finally get to work together. And then we got in the room together, and he's just absolutely hilarious. This is me, this is who I am. And he's always trying to throw in the splits. And I was like, no, it says no. So we can't do the splits in this. But he's desperately kind of trying to find, well, maybe I can do a splits in this way, in this scene. But there is a scene that I think he's going to be able to throw one of his cheeky splits in. But no, he's great fun, really great fun, and really he's just really responsive and really open, and that's what you need in such a small cast. You need everyone to be open and to be able to receive and kind of work from each other and take, just kind of fuse and really create something special. And I think that's what's so great about him and Jodie and Nathan and Amy and Harrison. We've all kind of, really got this beautiful family vibe going on.
Exactly. And Jodie as well is hilarious.
She's so hilarious. Yeah. Jodie's so, well, in the play, she's she's getting to play Mary Poppins. She's getting to play Mary Poppins. She's getting to play Judy Garland, and she. Oh my God, her voice is fantastic, and yeah, she's got some classic one-liners, which is really good.
And you've both had that kind of meteoric rise through your television profiles. So is that something that's kind of bonded you as well?
Do you know what, we spoke about this actually? Because I kind of was like, I was trying to remember the Nancy program, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, I did Nancy," but yeah, and but no, it was really good to kind of just find out. It was really good to find out her experience and what she kind of got from it, and the same for me. It's kind of, I really enjoyed my time on The Voice, but I kind of knew what it was for. It was for to be seen by more people. That was, you know, that's what an audition is for, and you know, I had no kind of delusions of grandeur. I was just there to kind of be able to kind of get my talents out there to a lot more people, so I could kind of have more opportunities. And I think that's what we both did. It's been great because it's led us to kind of, you know, great jobs and to meet great people and to work with fantastic directors and writers and so forth.
But then I spoke recently to Liam Tamne about how exposing it felt to get on that stage as yourself.
I felt in that moment that I had, for the very first time, said to the world, my name is Will.I.Am Tamne, I'm African, Indian, Irish, and I'm gay. And I'd never done that in any of things that I've ever done before.
Yeah.
And I publicly did that. And I felt like in that moment when they said no, I denied my heritage in the musical theatre industry to survive. And then when they then said, no, I'm not going to pick you, I felt like Will.I.Am Tamne wasn't good enough. I felt like Will.I.Am Tamne had failed.
Did you feel that? Were you apprehensive when you first applied?
I probably was, but I think I think that's what I wanted. I always wanted, I just wanted to be me. And, you know, in plays and in musicals, you're always playing somebody else. And I think sometimes we lose ourselves, and sometimes we kind of become, you know, we don't know who we are, so we kind of take on all these different personalities and stuff. And I think being on The Voice, it just allowed you just to kind of be you, and for people just to see you and to hear your voice, and you're not kind of being theatrical and more, you know, you're just singing and being you. And I think that's what's really great. That was really great for me to kind of, that's what I learned. I learned a lot about myself from doing that, even though it was exposing. And I actually was in the same year that Liam was on. We were on the same, we were on the same team. And that's how me and Liam became really good friends, actually. But yeah, I just feel it was a really good experience for me.
And other people have talked about the song choices and how they weren't completely satisfied with them, but you had some great song choices.
Yeah, do you know what? I was of the ilk of whatever you're gonna throw, let's just see how we do this, and you know, what comes out, and that's all I can do. Like, you know, I can only kind of do the best that I can do. These are fantastic songs because they've all been on the radio. They've all probably been number ones, or you know, been in the top 10. And yeah, it's just how you kind of your version of the song. And I always felt that I'm a soul singer, and you know, I can do folk and stuff. So these are the things I kind of I gravitate towards, and I kind of change the style of the song, but it still has the same meaning.
And Cedric Neal recently celebrated 3 million views. But when you look back, I mean, you had 13 million views of Trouble.
Wow, yeah.
That kind of blow you. I mean, you've obviously toured the world, but does it still kind of trickle down?
Do you know what? I haven't really been looked at those videos for years, for ages. And then I think somebody kind of reached out to me and was like, oh my God, I didn't realize that was you on The Voice. And I was like, oh, wow. And then they sent me the link on my Instagram, and I kind of was looking at it kind of going, wow, I did that. Because you kind of go, I don't think I could do it now. I have not got the confidence to do it now. But I was like, wow, I did that. yeah, it was amazing.
Well, it's just some moves as well. Like even in the battle with Jordan Lee Davies, the pair of you just kind of square dancing around each other.
Oh my god! But you know, Jordan again, and Jordan, we were just both performers, and you just and that's the thing. It didn't feel like a battle. And me and Jordan, you know, when we spoke, we were like, let's just perform. Let's just and that's what it is. It's an entertainment show. Let's just entertain each other. Let's entertain everybody else. And that's what we did. We just kind of just had so much fun in that battle.
Exactly. And then obviously Jordan was picked by Will.I.Am, and then you were stolen by that kind of moment. Were you kind of there going, huh?
No. I do you know what? I was, again, I was of the kind of what is meant to be will be, and if it's my time to leave, then that's it, really. But yeah, and then to get stolen by Jessie, and then to make it to the final, and it was a great experience. And actually, Jessie J even went on to do a kind of singing competition. I think it was in China or something.
Yeah.
And she won, and it was like, you know, even like the greatest singers of, you know, she's an amazing singer. For her to kind of put herself through that, just testament to her as well.
But then I think if you do look back at the videos, I mean, your performance of Wonder by Emily Sanders. You could see it kind of like throwback to The Lion King. I mean, was that intentional?
I don't know. I was just like, Wonder, okay, well, let's see what we can do. Let's make it a performance. But I guess, you know, my musical theatre, you know, background kind of came into play. It allowed me to kind of not just stand there and sing, but it allowed me to kind of go, you need to embody this, and you need to just perform and be a showman. And maybe that's what helped me kind of sell these songs a little bit more.
But yeah, talking about Lion King, so you were in, was it your second year at Urdang when you sneaked off to audition?
Yes. Do you know what though? It was, I loved Urdang. I'm now a patron, actually.
Yeah.
I'm a patron of Urdang. I loved it. And it was kind of, but I knew that I was like, I was just eager. I was just so eager. I was eager to be in Lion King. I'd been to see it so many times whilst at college. And I remember sitting there kind of going, oh my God, this guy swung out. And I was like, I want his job. And lo and behold, I got John Mawabi's job. And John Mawabi was the understudy, and he actually injured his foot. And when I auditioned, when I snuck out of college, lo and behold, I did not know this had happened, but I knew after. And then I kind of got the call when I got back to college, and Pipperadian kind of ran my college and said, just to let Matt Henry know, I stupidly put their telephone number. I don't know why I put my the college's telephone number on my application form. But yeah, when I got to the college and they called me into the office and said, where have you been? I went to the doctors. Well, we've had a call to say that you were auditioning for Lion King and you've got the part. I was like, what? And then, you know, they didn't know. It was like I was being told off, but then I was being told good news. And I just kind of was like, are you telling me off? Are you happy for me? Oh. And then, when I started rehearsals, then I found out that the guy that I'd actually seen was John Mawabi, and it was his part I'd got. So it was kind of weird, again, a weird cycle.
And do you think, have after that, they changed the policy now? Because obviously most recently, Max Harwood managed to film Everybody's Talking About Jamie whilst still studying at Urdang. So are they a bit more flexible now?
Yeah, I think so. I guess, you know, this was years ago. This is, you know, and this is Urdang at Shelton Street in Covent Garden, where it was very old school, and I guess there's been loads of new teachers that have come in, and the industry's changing, and schools have to change as well. And when you have people who, the whole point of you going there is to get work. So if you've got work, then the school have to kind of support you and kind of go, well, this is what we've wanted. This, you know, you are a legacy. Whoever gets work when they leave school, you're carrying the school's legacies for the school. So the school will always kind of go, our student, Matt Henry from Urdang, you know, yeah. So I think they've definitely changed with time.
And you talk about your legacy. So now you are MBE. I mean, that changed. Like, do people have to bow now when you walk into the room? I so don't ever bring that up. I'm literally like, do you know what? Everybody else brings it up more than I bring it. I was so shocked when I got that. I was like, wow, okay, wow. But yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I'm just. Was there anything in particular in your career that you think warranted it? Why they?
Well, no, but anybody can get one. That's the thing. Anybody can kind of recommend somebody, and you know, it's a massive file that you put in, you send in on somebody's career or someone's life, and you say this person deserves an MBE for their commitment to theatre and so forth, and the work that they've done in their industry. So somebody out there, I don't know who they are, but thank you very, very, very much. Put me forward.
And you never find out. You never know.
And you never know who that person is.
It was me.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, what was that day like? So you were presented by Prince Charles.
Yes.
And who did you take to go and collect it?
I took my mom and my brother and my partner, and we just, you know, my mom kind of, she's from Jamaica, and she said to me, you know, as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old living in Jamaica, she never thought that she would see the day that she would walk into Buckingham Palace. That was a huge thing for her. I mean, it's huge for me as well, but it was a really, really kind of huge thing for her, which was amazing.
So has this kind of just made you more kind of eager to get back into work?
Has it? It's kind of nice to be back in work, and it's kind of really good to kind of have something, you know, to kind of distract, some level of distraction. And it's been, you know, we've been away for a year and doing little bits of things online, and you know, and kind of hasn't really given me the satisfaction that I need, and the kind of those endorphins. Well, you know, but being back here now it's amazing. It's amazing to be back in the room, being creative, pushing yourself, asking questions about, you know, your character, just everything. The whole process for me has been a real game changer.
And of course, it is a play rather than a musical. So, I mean, is that something? I mean, you have done plays at the Globe and the Dunmar. Is it you always wanted to kind of share and balance?
I like to diversify myself. You know, yes, I can sing, yes, I can dance, you know, but I act as well. And, you know, I always say to people, this is, you know, because people always go, oh yeah, but musical theatre people can't act. And I was like, yeah, but it didn't say best singer, dancer in a musical. It says best actor in a musical. So therefore, I can act. So therefore, it's okay for musical theatre people to move through the mediums of film, television, and theatre, and doing plays, and being able to sing. And you know, sometimes a lot of musical theatre people get kind of pigeonholed into just musical theatre. And so I kind of, I always try and kind of push myself to kind of go, okay, you've done a musical. Let's see now, let's try and do a play. Let's try and do this. I'm always looking, because I just think it keeps everything exciting for me.
And you mentioned before about the responsibility to look after your voice when you're in a musical, but I mean, does that change? Is it kind of a bit less of a burden when you're doing a play?
No, No. No. Everything's the same. You know, you're just a bag of nerves. Whatever you're doing, you're a bag of nerves, and you're just trying to stay on top of your game. And like right now, I am kind of going, oh my God, do I even know my lines? It's the same feeling I get when I'm doing a musical. It's the same thing I get when I'm doing a play. It's the kind of the tension in yourself, kind of trying to push yourself to kind of get everything learned, get everything down, and kind of really hone in on who you are as the character in the play.
And it's going to be live streamed on the 5th of June, so you will still have that kind of, you can't go wrong.
Well, yeah, so we're doing a live stream on June the 5th, and then we're also doing some pre-records beforehand as well, which will go out the following week. So I guess everything's geared towards the live stream, of course, because we just want to get that right and get the camera angles right, get everything, and that's what we're kind of really working on now.
And obviously this whole evolution towards online theatre, how do you feel about it? I mean, you're obviously going to be able to reach a much wider audience. Like you say, you've done all these plays around the country, but people might not have seen you in them. So is it nice to think that people are going to see this kind of different side to you and access to this incredible play?
I think there are some positive things to come out of this pandemic, and one of them is live streaming for a lot of people to be able to see plays that plays that are sold out. So, plays that they can't have access to, plays that are happening in America, on Broadway, not off Broadway, all around the UK. And also for like people people with disabilities, old people who can't actually get out and go to the theatre. I just think this is theatre has now moved to a different stage in the sense of its accessibility, and I think this is a fantastic medium to be doing this on.
Amazing. Well, I should let you get on anyway.
Thank you so much.
It has been a pleasure, and I cannot wait to watch it when I tune in later next month.
Fantastic. Okay.
Thank you for watching. These videos are made completely free, so if you have enjoyed it, please do share it and subscribe to my channel if you would like to.